Hello everybody, here we are today doing a late second round series review between the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. So before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So game one is in Dallas, and it is the Stars that get out to a hot run as the first 3 goals are scored by them in the first period, that being Ryan Suter, Wyatt Johnston, and Jamie Benn. Then in the second period, we would see Colorado apply some pressure of their own as they outshoot Dallas 11-3 in that time, and it is Valeri Nichushkin and Cale Makar that score on the man advantage as it goes from being a 3-0 Dallas lead to being a 3-2 game. Later in the third, you would see Nathan MacKinnon, actually it was really early in the third, tie this one up as it is 3-3, and you see Dallas's lead disappear like that. No more goals in the period, and it means we get overtime, and in overtime it is Miles Wood that scores a goal for the Colorado Avalanche as they win this one 4-3. Again, they were down 3-0, able to rally back with some power play goals. Nathan MacKinnon scoring early in the third, and are up in the series 1-0 when they realistically should be down 0-1. So game 2 is still in Dallas, and the Stars are looking for revenge for game 1. Miro Heiskanen does score a goal in the first period to get his team up 1-0, but hey, we've seen this team score a goal before and have a lead. In the second though, it would be Dallas applying even more pressure as it is Roope Hintz, Miro Heiskanen again, and then Tyler Seguin, which was notable because it was a short-handed goal, I believe, and that snapped a 19-game playoff drought as he was goalless in those games, and the Stars are up 4-0, but man, you don't want flashbacks happening from game 1 where they had a big lead and ended up blowing it. And of course, that's when Colorado says we're going to start scoring. Kiviranta scores, followed by Duhaime and Nichushkin, as it is a 4-3 game. That lead is nearly non-existent, and you're wondering if there's going to be another mammoth comeback for the Colorado Avalanche. But then you would see Asa Lindell end up getting an empty netter for Dallas to win this one 5-3, and even the series up for their fans to breathe just a little bit. So game 3 is in Colorado, and the Avs are looking to take a 2-1 series lead, and it is the Stars with Stankoven that end up getting the first goal, which is good for them. Mikko Rantanen does respond as it's a 1-1 game, but Tyler Seguin, the man that could not buy a playoff goal up until recently, scores for them a little later on. It would be Tyler Seguin again as it's a 3-1 game, and then you would see another goal, this one being an empty netter by Stankoven, as well as 2 players score 4 goals for the Dallas Stars, and they end up winning this one 4-1 and regain home ice advantage. So before game 4, things are just awful for the Colorado Avalanche. As you would see, Valeri Nichushkin suspended for 6 months, and there's more to it than this, and we're hoping that he gets the help that he needs before the team, right before the game. You know, that's going to be a big blow for them. He was a huge goal scorer for them, a guy that could contribute a lot offensively. He is out for the series. Von Tays ends up missing this game too. Wyatt Johnston makes this game feel even worse as he scores a shorthanded goal in the first period. He would score another goal in the second, this one being on the power play, and then it was Miro Heiskanen again that scores as it is a 3-0 game, and it feels like the Avalanche are just really deflated. Casey Middlestad does get a goal to make it a 3-1 game, and maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of magic brewing in Colorado, but you would see goals by Evgeny Dadonov and Sam Steele as Dallas ends up winning this game 5-1 in just a tough blow as the Stars are now up 3-1, and then Colorado going to have to do a lot of work to even come back in this series. So in game 5, it would be Joe Pavelski that gets the Stars up on the board, as I believe he had 1 point in the previous 11 playoff games, but good to see him get on the board. But then Artturi Lehkonen would score for Colorado, so it is a 1-1 game, and the Avs are not down as they are possibly looking to be out in the series. They aren't, but Dallas is looking to get them out. Then in the second period, it'd be Miro Heiskanen again in this series with a power play goal to regain the lead for the Colorado Avalanche, Dallas Stars. But then you would see Colorado Avalanche defenseman Cale Makar say, I see a Star defenseman having a power play goal. I'm going to do that myself, as he evens this one up. It's 2-2 entering the final frame of play, and Colorado needs to have the lead by the time that regulation is over. Otherwise, they're going to overtime or their season is done. Then in the third period, you would see 3 goals scored in the first 6 minutes, 2 of those being by Colorado, 1 being by Dallas, as it would be Stankoven for Dallas, Middlestad and Makar for Colorado. They have a 4-3 lead. Nathan MacKinnon ends up getting a late goal as Colorado wins this one 5-3 and is forcing a game 6 back in their own building. So game 6 in Colorado, we see the Avalanche end up out shooting Dallas 9-5 in the first period. They aren't able to score, but in the second, it would be Nathan MacKinnon on the power play to get his team the lead. And in the third period, the Avalanche fans are thinking, man, this is a small lead, pretty much non-existent, 1-0. But maybe, just maybe, if we can hold on, Jamie Benn does end up scoring a goal as it is 1-1, which means either team scoring the next goal ends up winning. If it's in regulation, thing is, no goals are scored, and we are headed to overtime. And then in overtime, it is Mason Marchment with the overtime winner, the series winner, except hold on, it's not. As goalie interference was called, we end up needing to have double OT, and a former Colorado Avalanche player, that being Matt Duchene, scores the series winner. Heartbreak City, as the Avalanche season is over. So looking back at this series, there's a few reasons why Colorado lost and Dallas won. Not saying these are the sole reasons, but Valeri Nichushkin getting suspended is a huge blow to the Colorado Avalanche. He was, again, a guy that was a point per game, actually a goal per game scorer in the playoffs. That is huge, and that is one of those things that wasn't in their control. So to lose a top goal scorer for you is going to be a big blow. Now, one thing that was in their control was the fact that out of the series, they had 3 games where they scored 1 goal in each of those games. You're just not going to be able to go out and get a shutout 3 times against Dallas. That is not going to be a recipe for success. And the Avalanche, they had an offense that could produce at times. They had some other games where they weren't able to get multiple goals. Dallas, meanwhile, only failed to score 3 goals or more in just Game 6, which of course they won. And looking at some things, they had some old guys that scored. They had some young guys that scored. They had Miro Heiskanen averaging over a point per game. Jake Ottinger had a pretty good series overall. Alexander Georgiev ended up having not a great series, but in round 1 against Winnipeg, the fact that he was able to have a good series was kind of good. And in this series, just a lot of things not going Colorado's way. Some of it, again, out of their control. So for the Colorado Avalanche, this is a tough series loss as they once again fail to make a deep run after winning the Stanley Cup in 2022. And like we talked about earlier, not everything was something that they could control, but you're not going to be able to do that every postseason. You could have injuries. Let's say Valeri Nichushkin ends up getting injured in Game 3 and is out for the rest of the series. You still have to find a way to win. And this team is a good team that'll probably be back next year. The question then becomes, what can they do to get back to being on top of the mountain after getting there and then dropping off a little bit, still being a really good team, just hitting a wall the past 2 playoffs? As for the Dallas Stars, they didn't let a call derail them, and they ended up scoring the OT winner and are headed to the Western Conference Final yet again. The Stars played a good series. They were the better team than Colorado. Even if Nichushkin was there, I do think Dallas probably should have won. I know I picked Colorado in the series preview, but the Stars looked like they were just a better team. And I know that in some cases you would see Colorado outshoot them, but still, seeing this side for the Stars, you knew they were good. You knew they were going to have Ottinger possibly play hot, and they are hoping against Edmonton they can do that again and move on to the Stanley Cup Final for just a second time in this little era. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this series? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night, and you go off hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.